And there we go. My second attempt, or kind of my first attempt at a live broadcast. Okay, so it's the second attempt. I didn't get my tech working. So, hey everybody, my idea with this is to, answer a bunch of questions that I've gotten this week over our different or various social media channels. So, our Reddit and Instagram and YouTube and whatnot. So my idea is that I have prepped some of those questions that I've gotten this week, and then if anyone's watching, you can also enter your questions while you are watching, and I'll see if I can answer some of them in real time, so to say. And it's 2 in the afternoon here in Sweden, so I guess we're gonna have a bunch of Swedes and maybe other Europeans here, but maybe a few Americans have awoken and are tuning in. And hey, it's fine to write in the chat in Swedish or English, but you're doing me and the other ones a service if you are writing in English, so I don't have to try and translate on the spot. So anyway, I just got in from my garage gym and I've done day 33 of doing the big 5 barbell lifts every day consecutively without any break. And before those 33 days, I had 1 week of vacation in Spain where I didn't do them. And then before that, I did them for 10 weeks, almost daily, like 63 times out of 70. So, yeah, I guess we're over 100 days of doing the big 5, yes, not in an unbroken streak. And yeah, I'm posting about my workouts on Instagram and here on YouTube, so I get a lot of questions regarding that. So I thought I'd answer some of the ones I get most often. And one question comes in from Tarek Morales, who wants to know how is deadlifting every day feeling? And it's feeling fine-ish, I guess. There are some ups and downs. So when I began almost 100 days ago, I started super light, just doing one set of 5 with 100 kilos. And then after a couple of weeks, I started doing 5 reps with 140 kilos. And then I think it was like 2 months in when I lifted 180 kilos, so 4 plates for the first time. And for the last 33 days, I have been lifting at least 180 kilos every single day, basically, often for a couple of reps. So my idea was that in the first week of this second block of 33 days, I was going to lift 180 kilos for 1 rep in the first week, then for 2 reps in the second week, and then I'd add a set of 2 for every week. But I did encounter some hiccups on the way, so that plan has to be adjusted. Uh, right now, I'm mostly held back by some soreness, and I don't know if it's my adductors or my hamstrings that are complaining a bit. So I'm capping it at 1 or 2 reps with 180 kilos until that goes away, which it seems to be slowly doing. Would probably go faster if I rested, but that's not the point of the little experiment I'm doing right now. So yeah, we'll see, I guess, Tarek. I felt an initial strength gain. Now that has plateaued a bit. We'll see if it catches up again. So yeah, stay tuned. Matthew Simmons on Instagram, he and about 200 other people wants to know why I don't include the overhead press in my training. So the 5 exercises that I do are the squat, deadlift, bench press, barbell row, and a weighted pull-up. And a lot of you wonder why I don't do the overhead press. And well, the main reason is that I'm still a hobby powerlifter, so I want to reserve that training volume for the bench press. If I were to do overhead press, I would have to basically half my bench press volume. And who knows, it might be better than what I'm doing right now, but my current experiment is to try and bench every day and eventually bench a lot every day is what I'm after, but I have to like approach that very carefully, like a wild animal or something. But I mean, if you want to try this program, you could do both. You just have to be careful. I think it's really easy to overdo it. There was like one workout early on where I tried just adding some super light overhead presses, and I immediately felt my shoulders complaining about this is too much, man. So yeah, maybe another time. And On the topic of the big five, there are a bunch of people that have asked or written in some way or another. Here's just one of the comments. I've always understood the big five as deadlift, squat, row, bench, and overhead press. So, regarding this, I mean, there's no official list as far as I know. But sure, you could definitely argue that those are supposed to be the big five, or maybe switch the row for the pull up. Either way you want to do it. But we have one small little list that we could look at, and that is training statistics from the Strength Log app, which we do have some. So we have a workout log called Strength Log, which is free to download and use like 95% of the features in it. And a couple of years ago, we pulled the data on which exercises are trained the most and measured in terms of sets logged in the app. The top 6 exercises are: number one, the bench press, which accounts for almost 10% of all sets tracked in the app. That's cool. Number two comes the squat with 7% of every set tracked in the app. Deadlift is at spot number 3 with 5% of sets. Then on spot number 4 comes lat pull down with 3.8%. So, I mean, so that's one of the top exercises that I'm not really doing. And you could argue that that's the same thing as the pull up, but yeah. Anyway, at spot number 5, we do have the overhead press coming in at 3.4% of all sets tracked. And then on 6th place is the barbell row with 3.2%. So, I mean, if you want to make a big 6 list, those seem to be it anyway. And I mean, it's up to you if you want to do pull ups or lat pull downs, I suppose. Okay, so another question I've gotten on the gram is different variations of: don't muscle need 72 hours of rest or 24 hours? Or how are you recovering if you're training every day? And I guess I'm not. No, but this question of that the statement that a muscle would need a fixed number of hours to recover after a workout, that bothers me a bit because it isn't that black or white, or you can't put a fixed number on it like that, because the recovery time is gonna vary depending on the dose of your training. So how much did you train and how heavy? uh, and also your tolerance for the training or your capacity. How used are you to doing what you just did? Because if a beginner would do the workout of someone that is advanced, the beginner wouldn't be able to tolerate it as well and would need a lot longer recovery time. So those are two big factors. And I mean, if you do a light enough workout and you have high enough tolerance, you can repeat that workout daily, no problem. The question is, of course, is the workout hard enough or stressful enough to elicit this positive response or adaptation? And yeah, that's simply what I'm trying to see right now. I'm trying to find if I can hit that level of training stress where I get better without it getting too much. And I suppose we'll see how that goes for me. Um, but yeah, you can muscle definitely don't have to have 72 hours of rest. Although, I mean, for normal workout, I suppose that's within the ballpark of what you might need. If you do a really, really hard workout, 72 hours isn't enough. If you say that you do something that is still a fairly normal strength training workout, but you do go to failure in every set and you are like at the high volume end of as far as training volume doses go, you might need more than 72 hours to be completely recovered. But then we get into the question of, what do we mean by recovered? Do we mean that all the muscle damage is gone? Or do we mean that all the pain and soreness is gone? Or are we talking about performance and we need to get that back over where we were before, or at least back to the point where we were before? So there are all of these different variables we could look at for recovery. And I mean, the question is, which are important, and do you have to be rid of all the soreness before you do your next workout, or does your performance have to be back to where it were before you do your next workout? I think most athletes don't wait that long before they train again. This is why we have peaking and tapering to allow the training, like drop in your performance to dissipate and then see that performance gain when you're peaking. So yeah, I don't think you always need to be recovered. Sometimes you should probably recover fully, but not all the time. And we got another interesting question on our subreddit, which is called Strength Log. So search for Strength Log on Reddit to find it. Coming in from Jason Wells, our man in California. He started or he made a post where he wrote like this: "Can someone please explain the science or the reasoning behind undulating waveform progression versus a linear progression program? I am currently doing the 3-day-a-week Mad Cow 5x5 program," which is in the app, "which uses undulating waveform progression. Thanks." Okay, so Mad Cow, as he writes, it's a 3-day program aimed for intermediate lifters. So someone who might have done something similar to Starting Strength or Stronglitz 5x5 or our own beginner barbell program. I think the title in the app is for it. And he uses some technical terms here. Undulating waveform progression. Undulating means waveform. It means that it varies up and down. And a progression that is undulating or in a waveform simply means that it rises, but with waves. So kind of a stepwise progression, you could also call it. Linear progression, on the other hand, is when it progresses in a straight line. So if you add 5 pounds or 2.5 kilos to your every workout, that is a linear progression. And this is how many beginner programs are written. And it's a great idea to train in that way for a beginner. But eventually, you won't be able to keep that progress up. So, say for a beginner who might be training, say, the squat or the bench press 3 times per week, following a linear progression program, because they aren't that adapted to the training yet, they can make that strength gain from workout to workout so that they are able to add 2.5 kilos between every workout. They have that significant strength gain. But when you have been training for a couple of months, you might need several workouts before you can increase the load by 2.5 kilos. You might need to work out for a week before you can add that weight and be able to do 3 sets of 5 or whatever you want to do with it. And this is how Mad Cow 5x5 is written. So you do 3 workouts per week, where the first one is what I say the heaviest or the hardest workout. And then on a Wednesday, you do the hard one on Monday. And then on Wednesday, you do the light workout. And then on Friday, you do a medium workout. And then for the next week, you increase the loads by around 2.5 kilos. And you repeat those 3 workouts again. So it creates this kind of waveform progression going up, or a stepwise progression. And this is a really good way to progress your training when you are in the intermediate stage. And we can, like we do on the sites and in many of our strength-oriented programs in Strength Log, we classify the programs and the lifters based on how fast they adapt. So someone who is able to significantly, or someone who has significantly increased their strength from workout to workout and can make that weight increase, that would be a beginner according to our classification. If you need a full week of training, or maybe you can do it on a bi-weekly basis, then you are at the intermediate stage, and we have programs written for that. And then when you can't even make that a significant weight increase even after 1 or 2 weeks of training, and you might have to go to monthly increases or training block increases, training blocks being more than 1 month. That's what we call the advanced stage. And our advanced programs take that into account, so that you do a lot of training, and then at the end of the block, hopefully you're able to, or you have increased your strength to be able to maybe start the program over with heavier weights. Yeah, so that's a bit how we think about that. And look at Lonely Me, not a single question in the chat, but hopefully a ton of you will discover this video after I finished it and saved it to our channel. And yeah, just keep posting your questions, either here in the comment on our videos or on our Reddit, Facebook page, Instagram. We're on many places. And we'll see if I can repeat this and answer some more questions for you. If you want to check out the Mad Cow program, I have a link to it below this video. It's a link to the web version of our app, but the app is meant to be used on your phone when you're training. If you want, I didn't take a sip of coffee, but if you want one of these cool mugs with Swoloff on it, that's our mascot, you can find a link to our merch shop below the video as well. And yeah, thanks for peeping in, and I guess I'll be seeing you. Bye bye.